Alright all, and welcome back to another video where we'll be discussing day 2 of the Ebor festival at York, and we'll be going through race by race and hopefully giving a few selections for each race. Today, looking back at day 1, was a bit of a bloodbath for punters, so fair enough if you had a very good day. I was a little bit annoyed in the end with not going with Gayat. I kind of thought that might happen, but I decided to go with Kamiko, and Kamiko's probably a bit of a hard horse to get a handle on right at the moment, in terms of the trip he wants and how good he is and stuff like that. So it is quite hard, but anyway, Gayat was very good. But apart from that, a few winners from left field in my eyes anyway. We hit the places once with Mighty Spirit at a big price, 16-18 to 1. I would advise you, if you haven't already, to go over and follow me on Twitter. You'll get a few more selections that way on more of a daily basis. And I put up a few from Killarney today, including the nap of the day, which is a horse called Bolivar, who won. And I put him up at 10 to 3. So that kind of saved the day overall. But obviously, for the purposes of this video, it wasn't a particularly great day at York. But moving on to day 2. It's another very tough set of races, a 7-race card, and I think this is going to be a pretty frequent thing throughout these 4 days of videos, so do keep that in mind. It's probably small stakes racing at the moment in York, especially with forecast big rain. Starting off with the 145, which is a 6 furlong Lowther Stakes for 2-year-old fillies. You know where I'm going to be going in this. It will be with the Jessie Harrington Raider. She had 2 entered up. She had this horse, Sussex Garden, and she had Dicky Doodah. I actually quite like Dicky Doodah running in this race, but obviously they haven't decided to take her over and step her up to 6 furlongs. Sussex Garden won on debut at Naas when she beat a Donnacha O'Brien horse called Hazel, who's not a bad horse herself, and then went on to finish second behind Mother Earth. Now, if you've been a long-term watcher of any of my videos, you'll know I'm a big fan of Mother Earth. So I don't think there was that much discredit in that performance. She was beaten 3.5 to 4 lengths by Mother Earth, but over 6 furlongs, on also yielding to soft ground, and she might encounter similar enough ground tomorrow. I think 11 to 1's a pretty big price for this Acclamation filly. Acclamations usually go pretty well on this type, on the softer ground, which I am really expecting it to be the case if the weather just keeps going over as it has been. It's been a brutal day in Ireland today and also kind of west of England, so it should be on its way to York. I think Sussex Garden does have a big chance here, and 11 to 1 is a nice each-way price. The 215 is the Premier Yearling Stakes, and I'm going to take a chance on Uncle Jumbo in this at 9 to 1 for Kevin Ryan and Ryan Moore. Gelded son of Territories, who's one of the new sires on the block, has only run the once, which is at Doncaster, when winning a 5-runner 6 furlong race, beating a horse called Significantly of Carl Burke, who, despite having not won a race, has got some pretty good form at the table, coming pretty close 5th behind Steel Bull in the Molecombe last time out at Goodwood. This horse hasn't been seen since, but showed a battling attitude that day and was 18 to 1, so wasn't particularly fancied. Ryan Moore booked this time round. He should go well. I think Devious Company will be very hard to beat in this, but he's simply too short for a race of this nature in my eyes, and you know, favourites on this sort of ground, I'd be willing to take a few of the favourites on. Let's just put it that way, especially in these big runner races where you can get plenty of places, and hopefully Uncle Jumbo can be in one of those places. The mile handicap over at 245, the Class 2 event, and I'm going to take a chance on one of the big price, Arigato, for William Jarvis, I've lost my train of thought there, and Josephine Gordon, running off a mark of 92. This horse has been really running over 7 furlongs this year, where posting 2 wins off marks of 79 and 87 before finishing 4th in a big Premier handicap at Newmarket, I think, on the July course, and then bombed out last time at Goodwood. I think this sort of a track will be a little bit more to his liking than a place like Goodwood, and the softer ground mightn't be the worst thing, because he won by 9.5 lengths the last time he encountered soft ground, so maybe it's something that the horse does enjoy. Son of Poet's Voice, I'm actually backing a few Poet's Voice horses tomorrow, so hopefully they can all go well, and Arigato seems a big price at 20 to 1. He's near enough the bottom of the weights for Josie Gordon, and hopefully can run a big race. The 315 is the Yorkshire Oaks. I suspect for the majority of you, it will just be a sit back and watch. I do think Love will win. I think 2's on is fair. But obviously I'm not going to back Love at 2's on. I don't have the money to be splashing out in those sort of situations. So I have found a little bet. I looked up Paddy Power to see whether they were doing betting without. I'm sure many bookmakers will end up doing betting without. So I don't know whether you'll end up getting a better price than this. But I'm going to put up here One Voice at 2-1 without Love. Another Poet's Voice horse here. Tom Marquand and Jesse Harrington. Second to Fancy Blue last time out in the Nassau Stakes. I think that's rock solid form. Fancy Blue has the Alpine Star form line over in France. I think it's all rock solid in my eyes. I think this step up to a mile 4 probably will suit this horse. She won a mile 2 furlong race at Leopardstown earlier this season. Only got going right near the end. So perhaps this mile 4 will suit, and hopefully she can run a decent race. The 345 is the mile 4 furlong Galtra Stakes, and again taking one at a chance here at a bigger price. Bharani Star at 16-1 for Peter Chapelheim and Oisin Murphy, obviously owned by the Phoenix Thoroughbreds, who are in a bit of trouble at the moment. This daughter of Sea the Stars ran in the Oaks last time out when finishing 6th to Love, and before that was 4th in the Ribblesdale to Frankly Darling. I think she's back into easier territory here, obviously dropping back to listed class. And in fact, Gold Wand has finished behind her in the Oaks. Now, she's gone on and finished second in a listed race since, and therefore she's 9-2. As for this, Bharani Star is 16-1. I think it's not a bad each-way price against some of these horses, to be honest. I think if she can put in a decent enough showing, as she has done, certainly in the Ribblesdale when running massively at 100-1, I think she could go all right and hopefully can hit the frame. The 420 is a 7 furlong nursery. These are races that really aren't in my remit, I must confess. And I'm going to take a chance on Star of Orion at 11-2 under top weight for Rafe Beckett and Rob Hornby. This 2-year-old gelding by Footsteps in the Sand has run very solidly twice. He won a Newmarket novice before being touched off over course and distance here at York in a decent enough novice as well. There is absolutely no prisoners off this type of mark, off a mark of 92. There could be a few in here like Bonnie Rigg that could be ridiculously well handicapped in comparison, but this horse could be a bit of a class above, to be honest, and if the handicapper has rated him right, he could take a bit of stopping, and I do think he's worth a go and seeing how good this Rafe Beckett horse is. The 450 is the concluding race on the card, the 7 furlong fillies handicap, and again, I think it's just going to be one of these days where I think it's going to pay to maybe sway away from favourites and stuff, and I'm going to take a chance on Dawaween, 14-1 for James Bethel and David Egan. Won once this year over a mile, winning by 5 lengths before finishing second over a mile subsequent to that, and then bombed out last time at York over a mile 2. She takes a significant step back in trip here, back to 7 furlongs off a mark at 82. And I still think there's a bit of improvement to come from this filly, to be honest. It's interesting, this step back in trip, and also she will have a fairly assured stamina come the business end of a race like this. I think she is a little bit untested. There may still be a hint of scope for improvement, and hopefully 14-1 will seem a big price come the finish line. So, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below. And of course, let me know your thoughts about day 1 and obviously a few tips ahead of day 2. And if you want to get a few tips from probably a few of the Irish meetings, do go and follow me on Twitter. The link is always in the description below. And until tomorrow evening, where we'll be discussing day 3 of York, stay safe, stay lucky, land a few bets, and I'll see you guys then. Cheers.